of why he's here. I'll put up on the screen some of the aides who've already testified, because for people who aren't following every little development here, it's definitely bad news if your argument is people should be blanket blocked. You can see all these individuals have been ordered to testify, except perhaps Meadows, and that Ratcliffe, as mentioned, and Miller are believed to have testified. Neal, I'm curious, as Joyce is, your views, and I also wanted you to weigh in on something I mentioned, which is America has absorbed the indictment, the arraignment now, and the potential trial, unless he beats it before trial, of the former president. And best I can tell, everything is fine. By which I mean the predictions first from Donald Trump that it would be chaos or there'd be riots in the streets, something that he may have even inappropriately fanned. That didn't come true. But even apart from that, the sort of part of the bar or legal experts who said, gosh, anything like this could be a bad thing, seems like everything's going pretty in an orderly fashion and the defendant's rights will be protected. I'm curious your view on both of those.
Yeah, I think that's 100% right, just on the latter, that, I think Trump warned about all this stuff and how he couldn't get a fair trial and there'll be all sorts of mayhem in the streets. We've seen none of that, and it's not surprising because our country's founded on the idea that no person is above the law. That's all the district attorney is trying to do here, is enforce the law. And if Trump shows sure that he did nothing wrong, even though grand jury, of course, of his peers indicted him, he has the entire criminal justice system at his disposal, including the fact that he's going to have to be found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, which is the highest standard in the law, and the prosecutors are going to have to win all 12 jurors. Any one juror who says no conviction, there will be no conviction. So that's the process unfolding. Now, with respect to former Vice President Pence, he's both like a target and intended victim, but he's also a material witness. He was the one who undoubtedly was pressured by Trump at various points before January 6th, and prosecutors, of course, need that information. He's kind of the central witness. He's the Forrest Gump of the whole thing. And Pence has tried to assert in the past two privileges, executive privilege and speech or debate privilege, saying that as a member of Congress, which the vice president arguably is, that he's entitled to a certain immunity. He lost both those claims dramatically in the U.S. Court of Appeals, our nation's second highest court. And Pence said, I'm not going to appeal them. So now you're absolutely right. Trump is coming in and trying to gag Pence because Pence has said no appeal. And he might try and revive not just executive privilege, but the speech or debate claim, which I think would go nowhere because that's really held by the vice president, not the president. And with respect to executive privilege, I agree with Joyce. I think there's no chance this U.S. Supreme Court will entertain it. An executive privilege case, Trump tried to do it last year with respect to the January 6th investigation, asserting executive privilege. He lost that 8-1 in the Supreme Court. Only Clarence Thomas was willing to side with President Trump. The Pence one is not materially different. If anything, the case for piercing executive privilege is even much stronger. So I don't see actually much delay in this. I suspect that if Trump does continue his action in the nation's second highest court, he's going to lose that in a matter of days, probably next week. And then they can try and go to the U.S. Supreme Court, and they'll lose that in a matter of days. So basically, Trump is now, I think, facing the music.